And so the yoga thing, and I'll keep it brief because there's going to be much more on this, but it's a very good question. So we are using two fields of work, right? We have two fields, and one is our breath, one is our body. And we do 4 practices, and we do 2 body practices. One is active on purpose, and one is just natural. And those are our bookends. So yoga is the active body, and the very final practice we do, the Vipassana, is again looking at sensations, body, but just natural. And then we do 2 breath practices, and similarly, we do an active breath practice, the pranayama, and then we do a natural breath practice, which is just observing the touch of the breath. So the most basic answer is that we are sort of stretching it. We are moving it a little bit, partly in order that when we get still and subtle, there is more accessibility. Yeah. But a little bit deeper, one layer deeper than that, is that most of us have not lived sort of perfect, harmonious lives, for most of our lives, and many of us are far from that. And so our bodies are compromised in sort of these postural ways of tension. Just to have gotten through our lives, we carry the kind of, scars of it, and we carry that as tension, and our breath as well. So they are not in balance. And so they need a little bit of rehabilitation. In a full yoga practice, we're doing just a tiny little bit, but you will get into and sort of gently move, open, stretch, all these places that and you will find these tensions. Like Louisa was talking about the knot here. That's an example of a kind of tension. And that deliberate breath practice over time is probably going to be the main thing that is going to help change that sort of thing. And so we do that on a bodily way, and that corresponds to that kind of kinesthetic and more physical outer level. And then, so the body carries those things, but so do the subtler, more internal systems, like our cardiovascular system, our endocrine system, our nervous system, all these things. They also carry kind of the scars of our lives, and they carry kind of tension, and they are to some degree, in most of us, dysregulated. And so when we do the kind of deliberate breath, which is like the yoga of breathing, that starts to put some regulation in it. In the same way you see in a big way, like if you're feeling kind of anxious and you take some nice deep breaths, a kind of equilibrium comes in, right? At least you move towards that. And so even if you're not feeling anxious and whatever, out of sorts, always the baseline when people come and start, especially when they start as adults, the baseline is always off, and balance needs to be re-brought in. And so there almost always, for most of us, needs to be some more overt getting in and managing. And so the physical yoga and the deliberate breathing are our way of getting in and managing that system.